Eve, welcome to Pretty Smart.
Thank you.
I cannot even tell you how excited everybody is that you pop back out. You know how many DMs I got from friends looking at your fashion this whole week?
No way.
The burgundy outfit.
Yes, we went full burgundy. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
How does it feel being back?
It's always nice. It's always nice, especially because I've been living in London for so long. I will say, the way in which I am back with this book feels a bit naked. I'm not gonna lie, but the love I've been getting just in the city has been amazing. Yeah.
I read your book in 2 nights. I loved it so much.
Wow, thank you.
I laughed at all the nicknames you had.
Yes.
We have Turtle because you would run from the cops.
Yes.
They would catch you.
They would.
The guys that you battled in high school called you gangsta.
Yep.
The Ruff Ryders called you the pit bull in the skirt.
Yep.
And your mother named you Eve.
Yes. Yes.
The symbol of femininity.
Yeah.
The woman who eats the apple in search of education.
Yeah.
Why were you complicated about your name?
I just thought it was a curse. My grandmother, who still is Jehovah's Witness, I would go sometimes, and in the Bible and the stories, Eve is the one who's basically responsible for evil because, she ate the apple, or did she give it to Adam or something, whatever it was. So I really did grow up thinking like, oh, I'm cursed. And people, even when I was a kid, people would tease me about that. Like grown-ups would say, why'd you have to do that? And I'm like, what? Like, I'm a kid. So yeah, it was years that I actually felt like that.
It was interesting to me reading it because Eve challenges the norms of femininity in the Bible.
Yeah.
And you did that exact thing in music and in rap.
I never thought about that actually at all. I've never thought about it in that way.
I feel like you walked that line in an incredible way.
I think I was really lucky that the crew that I came from, Ruff Ryders, didn't make me try to be anything else other than who I wanted to be as an MC, as an artist, as a person. So all the things that I wanted to talk about, wear, whatever, they were just like, okay, cool, that's fine. So maybe it definitely wasn't calculated. It was more out of them kind of just allowing me to be me.
In the book, you said that you felt seen by them.
Definitely, yeah.
What was that like in an industry who just did not see female MCs? No,
it was really nice. I definitely felt protected. But I felt celebrated as well. I honestly did. I felt celebrated. Cool. They were great. They've always been great. I'm forever grateful that that's where I came up through. And I learned a lot. Like there was healthy competition. They pitted us against each other in a healthy way, but only to make each of us better, which is great.
I want to get to the first moment that you went to Yonkers.
Oh yeah.
But before we do, Eve's upbringing. You talk about horror movies.
Yes.
And you were like, fear, but do it anyways. Yeah. And that has been your entire career.
Literally, yeah.
When you look fear in the face, what do you see?
Oh God, it's such a constant in my life. It's more of this feeling that arises. I know when it's not just anxiety, when it is actual fear. There's a different tingling in my chest that I'm like, okay, all right. But for me, it's been a motivator in a sense that I just want to break through it. I don't want this to be part of who I am, especially now that I have a child. I don't want that to be part of how fear to be the catalyst and how I raise him. And, and I just feel like because of how I grew up and where I grew up, fear was just everywhere anyway. I grew up in the projects. My mom was a single mom, a teen mom. I saw a lot of things I shouldn't have seen at that time. So fear has just always been annoyingly a companion of mine for years.
I interviewed Kevin Hart a few years ago, and he's from Philly.
Yes, Philly.
And he sold shoes in Philly.
Yep.
And I was like, Kevin, when you were selling shoes, you're on the ground dressing people's feet.
Yeah.
Did you know this was going to be your life? And he was like, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Because I think that people that push through know. You had this deep knowing.
Yeah. I knew something. I knew I didn't want a regular life. And I say that in the book. I said that to my mom when I was little. Like, Mom, I love you and I love Grandma, but I don't want a regular life. I also knew that I wanted to see the world. I also knew, I was one of those kids that needed attention all the time. Like I did tap dance, I did ballet, I did violin. I literally was like, people need to see me. What's going on? I need to be seen. So I knew something. I would not be able to say that it would be this big. I thought I would do one album and that was it.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I did that. I did the album that I wanted to do. That's it. But then, then comes contracts and business and things. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll do one album. It's fine.
But that doesn't track for me because you're at the Grammys and you bring your mom and you're like, it's such an emotional moment.
Yes.
I remember Christina Aguilera won a Grammy and she looked in the camera and she mouthed mommy.
Yeah.
And it like makes me emotional because our moms are those people.
Everything. My mother has been my rock forever. She has been just that person that I can call if I'm not sure about something. When I was younger in the business, I purposely wasn't so close to her because I think I was going through so much of my own stuff. And she's always raised me fiercely independent. So I think I felt like I needed to go through this stuff alone. But when the big shit hit the fan, she is the person I would call. And she always was like, it's all right. It's okay. We're going to figure it out. Don't worry about it. She's just been the best ever. Yeah.
I was shocked by how supportive she was.
Oh my God. Listen, I am lucky. Because I'm like, it's funny. Someone said to me once that got the book and read the book was like, I was waiting for your mom to be like, what is happening?
At every turn. You're 14, I think, and you're like, I'm not going to college.
Yeah.
And she had sacrificed everything for you.
Yeah. I was so scared to have that conversation. I was so scared to sit my mom on the bed and say, Mom, I really don't want to go to college. Thinking like, of course, is that what she wants to see? And she was like, listen, it's not for everybody. If this is what you want to do with your life, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you think your mom is proud of you now?
Definitely. Oh my God, my mom's so proud. She is very proud. Very proud. She still calls me my childhood name, like Miss P. So when she's like, oh, Miss P, that's great. Like, it's the sweetest thing. Yeah, she's super proud. Yeah.
That's another name.
I know, another one. And it's so funny. I've never thought about how many nicknames I actually had in my life. I've had a lot. Yeah.
I think that means there was a lot of love. People felt close to you.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
I think so too. So you're battle rapping at the Cypher in Philly.
Yes.
Against only men.
Yep. Only men. I was
Which is
always
wild.
one of the females, yeah.
And then you're like, I got to get to New York and do this for real.
Yes.
And you stripped for 2 months.
Yes.
Which I have to tell you, I was laughing thinking that you failed gym class and then you thought you could go strip.
It's true. This is true. I don't know what I was thinking. But that's why I call it in the book, because it's the lazy stripper, because it's like, I really wasn't there for that. I wasn't there for that at all. I was there for a come up to figure things out. But yeah, no, of course, I failed gym.
So that is my question, actually, because when the book first came out, a lot of the headlines were about that moment.
Which is so insane. It's annoying.
It's horrible, actually. And I actually think it's really sexist.
Yeah.
It was 2 months.
It was 2 months. I was 17. Yeah, I was 17. And also, the biggest part of that story is the revelation that came from the conversation I had with Mace. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the biggest part, and it sucks. And even now, doing press and stuff, I'm like, God, maybe we should not have put that in the book, because I've talked about this through my whole career. I have. But then I also felt like, no, this was a big pivotal moment, not the stripping, not the strip club itself, but that conversation changed. I won't say it changed. It confirmed what I was already thinking,
And I think it showed how tunnel vision you were.
Yeah.
You had one thing on your mind.
One thing. Literally one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you signed to Ruff Ryders. And I'm skipping over the part where you go to LA and it doesn't work out, but they could read the book for that.
Thank you. Yes. Read the book.
You signed to Ruff Ryders and you go to Yonkers. Yeah. Okay, I talked to Wah.
You did.
I got a little background.
Oh, I love this.
So I have some details that weren't in the book.
Oh, I love this. Yes.
He said the best thing. He goes, there were 3 floors of the Ruff Ryders building. Yeah. Eve scrapped with every single man on every floor of that building. Drag, infant crew, every single one. And he said, you were the most focused person he had ever seen.
Yes. It was do or die for me. It was do or die because of that first situation in LA. For me, this was do or die. It was like, this is it. Because of course, that first time I got signed, I was like, this is it. I've made it. And when you get dropped and you have to go back home to your mother's house, wow. And then you get another phone call.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is it. It was like game time master level game time. Like, so yeah, for me, the focus was, it was important because I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is when it's going to happen.
It did this time
It
because,
did.
like, your single popped off.
Yes.
You hit the Billboard charts, 200,000 copies
Yes.
in the first week. What was the moment that you realized Let There Be Eve was going to change your life?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I really even thought about it because I kept trying to be in this place of, I had all my friends with me everywhere, and I was going back and forth to Philly. So while things were changing, it still was like me trying to keep these things not to change, let me hold on to the things that are very familiar. I think I really realized on my first tour when I got depressed, when I got sad. That's when I realized, shit's different. Mm-hmm. Shit is different. My life is different. I am still that girl, but I can no longer operate in the same way. That's when, for me, it hit me like, yeah, things have changed.
That was actually a really difficult and moving part of the book to read. Yeah. You said drinking, drugs, diet pills, punched in the face by anxiety. Was that the time that you felt like you'd come the closest to losing everything you'd built?
I don't even know if it was... No, it was more me. I think it was so much about me, losing me, like thinking the other stuff around me, thinking career stuff. I was more fearful of losing myself. Where am I? What am I doing to myself? Yeah.
That's a really scary place to be.
Very scary. Very scary.
Do you consider yourself someone that struggled with alcohol?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't even think I realized how much until, I always knew it was an issue. I have talked about it when I was on The Talk. Mm-hmm. I talked about it, but I don't think I realized how much it actually affected me until I actually wrote this book. These realizations that are on this page came as we were writing. A lot of it came to fruition in the writing sessions.
Wow.
Which was crazy for me, where I was like, I didn't even know I really was holding on to that. I didn't know I felt like that. While I knew I had an issue, like most time when people are going through something, I didn't admit it to myself. The only other time for sure is when I had my DUI. Mm-hmm. And of course that was like, all right, you need to get it together. Of course.
Yeah. I feel like alcohol usually is covering up pain.
Definitely.
You've done so much therapy. You're so evolved now. Do you know what that was covering up?
I was really sad for some reason. I felt very, and I didn't think about this before. I do think, there are words we use now like anxiety, depression, mental health, all of that. Definitely think I was depressed. I also think I was lonely. I do. I think I was very lonely. Even when you're around tons of people and doing tons of things, sometimes it can be a very lonely place, being in the industry. So I think it was some of that. Also, there was just a lot of moving parts. Being in California, acting, my record label wasn't the same. My music career wasn't the same. Like, there were so many factors of shit. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to deal with it. So I think it was just me numbing myself from the pain, basically, and the frustration of all that, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yeah.
I felt your exhaustion in the book.
I was exhausted, truly.
So I came from like TV, news, media, and that's kind of like a structured place-ish.
Yeah.
And I dealt with so much stuff that no one will ever know.
Yeah.
Reading your book, all I could think was, I can't even imagine what's not on these pages.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I take a breath thinking about it, because that stuff stacks up in your soul.
Yes,
completely.
Yeah, there's definitely more that could have gone on there. Some stuff doesn't need to be. Some things I only talk to my therapist about, or my God, or
What do you think people don't really understand about being a woman in music?
It's just so much pressure. There's so much pressure, not just being a woman anyway. Being a woman, we put so much pressure on ourselves. First of all, it doesn't even matter if you're in the industry, but keeping up, looking right all the time. But also the business itself is not really friendly. especially in my experience at that time, it just wasn't friendly to women. It just wasn't. It was like, it had to be the one female, the one girl from this crew. Nobody else can share the light. And then they pitted us women against each other for no reason. Yeah, it was a lot of pressure.
You say the fighting between women and hip hop has nothing to do with us. That's what you wrote. It's the men behind the women kind of forcing the war.
Yeah.
It made me think about the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Oh, yeah.
Because like Megan and Nicki will beef and it's like about their character.
Right.
Drake and Kendrick, it's about their lyrics. Who had the better song? Who had the better beat?
So true.
When that happens, are they beefing behind the scenes the way the women are?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that Drake and Kendrick is yes.
That feels real.
That's real. Like that, if that can't not be real. Oh my God.
At the beginning, I thought they were kind of putting the Avengers together.
No, same. In the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is because I remember that a long time ago, when Drake and what's his face, Lil Wayne did when they did the concert. So I was like, oh, maybe that's no. It quickly went south. Ugh.
Do you think things like that affect people's careers? Yeah. Really?
I think so. I'm going to tell you, listen, I'm a huge Kendrick fan. So for me, I got to say, and it sucks. This is horrible, but I loved it because it reminded me of old hip hop. Not the personal shots. The personal shots, that's a lot. But the beef, that lyrical beefing, that feeds my soul because I am a lyricist first. I'm an MC first. So I was like, this is great. I loved it so much. Then it got a little personal. I was like, oh no, I don't want to be laughing at people's misfortunes, but damn.
But I think people who love rap love that beef.
So good. It fed me in a way hip hop has not fed me in a long time, and that's real.
And I feel like Gen Z hadn't experienced that.
They had not. No, of course not. None of them have experienced that. No.
We at least got like a made up job. Well, it wasn't made up, but like a Ja Rule 50. Yeah. Like we got something.
You got something. That was a very memorable good one as well.
So when you talk about songwriting, people that are songwriters claim that in a very different way. Like it's different than performing. It's different than recording. Yeah. Is there a song that you perform that like hits you deep?
That's a good question. I would say Blow Your Mind is one of my favorites to perform. It's like my personal favorite. And I go off on that. Like when I'm on stage, that's probably one of my personal favorites. And then if I ever add like Love Is Blind, and I don't do that one often. It depends on the audience and the... Thank you.
I listened to that this morning.
No, but that's because of that subject. It depends on where I'm performing. But when I do add that in, it is one of those records that takes me to a place because of what it's about.
When did you write that song?
I wrote the poem when I was 16. It was a poem first. The 2 verses are about a friend of mine who got pregnant for a guy who was like 30 something. She was like 17. Wow. He put her in an apartment. He used to beat her. And she used to come to my house with these like bruises. And then when she had her baby, I was in the maternity. I was there. He did not come. I was the first person to hold the baby at 16, 17. It was crazy. And when I heard the beat for Love Is Blind, immediately was like, I need to put this poem to these songs. The 3rd verse, of course, where I kill him or whatever is obviously not real, but it was more to kind of bring home the point of how bad domestic violence is. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's an amazing song.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Page 92. Will you read something for me?
Yes. I was obsessed with upholding my lyrical content while trying to emulate some of my heroes on the mic, like Black Thought and Lauryn Hill. My pussy didn't need to enter the conversation like that.
Thank you for that.
Of course, that's cool.
I asked that because I think so much of female rap right now is pussy forward.
Ooh, it is.
P forward?
Yes, P forward, P forward.
Well, as somebody who shied away from that intentionally, what do you think about that?
Listen, yeah, it is a lot. I will say it's funny. I saw something not too long ago on TikTok. This girl who just popped up on my FYP was just like, I am so sick of how over-sexualized hip-hop is right now with women. And she's right. It is very over-sexualized. But for me, I will say, I look at it as an overall whole in the sense of there was a time where there were no females out.
Yeah.
It was just the desert. You know, it was one or two. So on a positive, trying to stay positive, it's more like, thank God the landscape at least has more women. But yeah, I do think that it is taking on this turn at the moment. That being said, there's still some really dope, amazing females, some dope female MCs, some amazing women out there. So yeah.
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 And now it's like more than one a little bit.
Thank goodness.
Which helps. There's
We
still
need
more
it. Yeah, there's
room.
still more. I think,
Yeah.
you know, there just wasn't a balance at a certain point. From the male perspective to the woman, like there wasn't a balance. And I do feel like there is somewhat of a balance. That's my most political way to say it, I guess.
In the beginning of your book, you say you never competed with anybody.
Yeah.
And then you have this moment where you talk about Nicki Minaj in
Yeah.
Barbershop 2. And I thought that was really cool of you to share.
Yeah.
Really big of you.
Thank you.
Super
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
You say that her being cast really had an impact on you. It put you into therapy.
Yeah.
Why did that? Because like I feel like there were moments in your life that could have destabilized you. Why did that moment hit you?
Well, it wasn't just that moment. I had been doing therapy and stuff before, but it was a moment I kind of went back. I will say I went back to it in the sense that I felt like I had these feelings that I needed to deal with that I knew was completely my stuff. But it was one of those things, and because I thought about, do I really share this story?
Yeah.
But the reason I shared it is because I feel like, you know, no matter what industry you're in, if you've wanted something so bad, or if you've done something where you've been in a position, but now there's this situation, this person, this situation, something takes over or comes into your space. We're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did feel like, oh man, this is kind of crazy. Like, but I knew that was all my stuff. And I felt like it was important for me to go talk about it somewhere so that I didn't bring it to set. And I be the one that was, I guess, I don't know, putting my insecurities onto someone else and not being able to be the best me and show up in that space in the right way. So yeah, I feel like I needed to go talk about it. And also because I had moved on from those things that I used to go back to when I did have anxieties, like drinking or partying or whatever. So I needed a new modality to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
A different modality. Yeah.
When I read that, it was actually, I thought it was the bravest part of the book. It's not easy to share.
I was like, do I put this in here?
Cause you're Eve.
Yeah.
Like we're like Eve. You're on a pedestal, and then it's like for you to admit that it's something every woman has felt.
Everyone.
And no one really wants to talk about it.
Of course they don't. No, but it's
Yeah.
real. It's real. It is real.
So towards the beginning of your career and in the beginning of the book, you talk about how Jay-Z called you, and he was kind of this invisible bully.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a bully that doesn't know she's my bully.
Because
But
we
it
all
helps
have
me.
one. Bam. See, yes, right?
I don't dislike her.
No.
It just helps me rise up.
100%. And that's another reason why I put that in there. Because of course we question that as well. It's like, do we put, because we know how people feel about Jay, honey. But it's not out of, and I say this, and I've said this before, I know it wasn't out of meanness or malice in any way.
Yeah.
And he was probably trying to temper my expectations, or whatever it was. But I took it for me, and it was fine. The battery in my back for me. Jay is great. Like, have no issues at all. But I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna show you. And not just him, not show you like him, but show everyone.
What it represented.
What it
he was talking about
represented.
women in hip hop.
Exactly. So yes, I love that you said that, because it's true.
Yeah.
We all have that person. Someone has said something. They don't even have a clue. They don't even know. And like you said, you don't not like this person.
No, I wish her well.
Wish her well. God bless. But I'm right on your back.
Yeah, I love how you put it. It's the battery in my pack.
Battery in your back, yeah.
Do you have one today? You're in a different era.
I'm in a different space, but
Yeah.
in a different way. I would feel like it's more my kid. It's more my son for the life that I want for him. So that's a different battery. It's a different thing. Yeah.
So it was interesting to me at the beginning of the book, you talked about how your house was dark.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, throughout the book, she's searching for this light.
Yeah.
and then you found it with your family. When you talk about your son, like
I could barely get through that during the Audible. It took me a while. I kept starting and I was like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. That was the most emotional part of reading.
why do you get emotional when you talk about your son?
It's just, I've talked about my fertility struggles. I think there's so much there, not just him just being here now, which is the best thing in the world. But I think, the first time I talk about my ectopic pregnancy is in this book. Mm-hmm. That is something I had to heal and deal with as well, to kind of release that and to allow him in. Mm-hmm. So I think there's just so much emotion with it and with him. And I just feel it's literally the best thing ever. He's just great. He's my homie, my little homie.
Is it like you feel all the struggle it took to get
definitely
him into the world?
Oh my God, yeah. I think, yeah, the struggle, the frustration of doing like IVF and the frustration of going to doctors over the years who never knew or looked into the fact that I had fibroids or endometriosis, where that could have been fixed years prior. Lots of that, yeah.
If you did one thing differently than 99% of the people in your industry, what do you think that was?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe being open to the pivot. Like, okay, well, let me try this. Let me go over here. Let me try this. Maybe I'll go over here. Huh. Maybe that could be, that's the thing that comes up for me.
I did not think you were going to say that.
No?
That's cool.
Maybe. I feel like that, for me, that's what comes up.
You were open to the pivot.
Open to the pivot.
Do you still feel open to the pivot?
Always. I always. I think I will try anything once or twice, depending on what it is, to see if it's meant for me. And that's literally everything. Food, clothes, whatever. Life, careers, everything. Yes.
Okay, you're on this amazing press tour and talk about pivot. Nobody's talking about fetish.
I know.
Everyone loves fetish. Oh. Are we bringing it back?
No, well,
is that a pivot?
I know. Is that a pivot? You know what's funny? I just found some pieces not too long ago. I was cleaning out like a storage thing, and I was like, "Oh, fetish!" I would love it too in a certain way. Maybe not exactly what it was, what couldn't be, but I'll never say never. I never say never. Yeah, that was a good time.
Because you would do it differently this time.
Yeah, 100%, completely.
You'd make money.
Yeah. How about that? That'd be nice. I'd make some money off of it. It'd be great. I made none. Made no money. It made money.
But you made a lot of people happy. It did?
It made money. It made so much money. It made a good amount of money. But I sadly did not. That's I should have put, that's a whole other story and chapter.
That's book 2?
Book 2.
That's fair.
But you know what? Like you said, it made a lot of people happy. It was great for what it was. I will always be proud of it. So it's all good. Yeah.
Has there been a no that you're thankful for, like a blessing in disguise?
Ooh, that's a good question. A no that I'm thankful for. Like career, like someone saying this is not for you kind of no thing?
Mm-hmm. Or even personally. I had a man dump me, and like in hindsight,
best thing ever. Yes, best thing ever. Probably that then, to be honest. That would be it. Somebody in my past that would probably be it.
Can we talk about that?
Let's see.
Okay. So in the book, you talk about this codependent, toxic relationship.
Yes.
Which I also thought was very brave.
Thank you.
Because Wa was telling me that was like the only hard part, the only hard time in Ruff Ryder Eve history.
They hated it.
Understandably, because they loved you.
Totally. Yeah.
Why didn't you name him in the book?
I feel like with certain things in the book, the situation's bigger than that person. Okay. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I just feel like there's no need to name them when, I don't know. Also, you just don't, some things you just don't want to shine. You don't want to put any light on. Yeah. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah.
The thing that I thought was cool that you shined a light on was, I thought some of it was abusive.
Yeah.
I don't know if you didn't really write it like that, but like releasing a tape, I felt like was pretty
that's insane.
abusive.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And I think it's happened. I'd have had so many people in this chair talk about things like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen to men.
No, ever.
Ever.
Sad. It's sad. It's crazy.
It's really crazy.
It's crazy.
Because it's like the only thing that they have to destabilize you.
Yeah. Which is, really insane. Really sad.
How'd you heal from all that? Like because you talk about not bringing your baggage into this new amazing marriage that you're in.
I mean, listen, the first few years of our relationship, definitely baggage was there. There were times where Max would literally say to me, because we were long distance for a year, and some change, really. So there'd be times where I'd freak out. Like, he'd be in London, I'm in LA. The time difference is nuts. And if he didn't answer the phone, I'd immediately be like, who are you with? What's going on? And he'd be like, I am not that person. I am not those people. That is not who I am. And it took me a while. It took me a few years. I'm not going to lie. It took me a few years before I could really be like, oh no, I believe him. And yes, this is such a different situation. Thank God. But it took a minute. Yeah.
I feel like there's certain people in pop culture, when they find great love, everyone's rooting them on. You were one of those people. And I'm wondering how falling in love with Max, someone who felt so safe, changed you.
Yeah, I think he's very good at being like 2 feet on the ground, and I live in the clouds. Like, I'm very much like, and he's very good at being like, just come back down here. So that has helped a lot. You know, he's seen me through and helped me through panic attacks. And what's nice is knowing that I can be truly, fully who I am and not feel crazy for it. Because in past relationships, when I would be emotional, it'd be like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong? And it's like, oh wait, is something wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like, you start feeling like, so that is a great place to be. Like, we are very honest with who we are with each other. And that, I never had that before. I always call it's my grown-up relationship. I never had a grown-up relationship before. Who knew it could be actually kind of easy and not like anxiety inducing?
I used to interview a matchmaker when I did morning TV, and she said that couples really in love, successful long-term couples, use one word, and they all say the same thing, and it's easy.
Wow. And it's true. I never believed it though. I always thought you had to have the butterflies in the bad way. Because sometimes that feeling is not the good feeling. If somebody's like causing that anxiety or anticipation, but not in the right way, that's not good for you. That's actually really not good for you. And it is, listen, nothing's perfect. We're not going to use that word because listen, he had 4 kids. He lived in London, but we figured it out, and we're very, like I said, we're very honest with each other, and it is easy. It is easy. Yeah.
How did it feel to become a first-time mom at 43?
Amazing. Honestly, amazing. And I've said this before, but it's true. I am happy that I'm an older mom. I got, a lot out of my system. I don't feel like I'm missing anything outside, child. If anything, she wants to be under the covers, okay? Like, under the covers. It's nice because I have the patience and the patience I need, I think, for him. It's great. Yeah.
You said you're in your soft life era now. What surprised you the most about this era of your life?
That I actually like it. Trying to settle into it. I think I've been such a grinder, hustler, need to make this happen. What's going on? Next thing going, based on just how I was built, grown up, everything.
Yeah.
That I think that I'm like, oh wow, this is actually nice. This is like, I can also, I love work. I'm gonna always work. So it's not about that. It's more about how I work.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to kind of be the architect of how I want to work and things I want to do is a very nice place to be. I feel very lucky for that.
After reading your book, I'm so happy you're there.
Thank you. Yeah, girl, because child, could you imagine? Lord. Like, seriously.
You earned it.
Girl, yes, thank you. Thank you. I feel like I have. But I also feel like I'm in a place where I'm okay admitting that I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes I think we're so hard on ourselves of like, we're not doing good if we're not working hard enough. And it's like, no, but how much more? I've been working my ass off. I have been. And will always. I love to work. But it's you don't always have to do it. What is it? Work smarter, not harder?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
Is there music, like, is there something you still want to contribute to the music industry aside from your voice and your songwriting, as always?
I mean, not in the same way. I'm always open to get on a record. I'm thankful that people do call still. Like, I'm on a Sia and Shaka Khan record right now. That's amazing. Cool. That's called Immortal Queen. That's insane. You know, I did something on Doja's record, her last record, which was nice. So I'm open always to stuff. The 25th anniversary of my first album has just passed. So we are kind of talking about reimagining certain things and maybe putting some new stuff on it for next year. Mm-hmm. So I will never say never because music is my first love, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, if you can grab a card out of this deck.
Oh, I love this. Okay.
Whichever one calls you.
Okay. Should I shuffle them?
Yeah,
okay.
Do your thing, please.
Okay. I want to see it.
You shuffle those like a card player.
Well, no, because you know what? I do oracle cards.
You do?
I love them. Yeah. So I'll do it for myself sometimes. So that I do it always like that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, a mistake you made along the way you'd like to save other people from. Don't question yourself so much. Honestly. Like, believe what you feel. But trust your gut. I think that's the biggest thing for me, that I didn't do enough. Mm-hmm. So believe what you feel. Yeah.
What's the smartest decision you've ever made?
I don't know. There's a few, I have to say. I don't think there's one, to be honest. I think without my husband even, I think I probably wouldn't be living anywhere near California or New York, anywhere near the industry. So being away from the industry, because I think that breeds that same feeling of trying to keep up, all that kind of stuff. But also, like, I have a great team. Finding the team that really believes in me, like, and really cares for me, not just what I churn out, that's important. That's a huge thing. Yeah. Okay, my last question. Yeah. A book you've read that changed your life, something you think everybody should read. Ooh, that's a good one, because there's a film. Let me think. One? Okay. This is an oldie but a goodie, and to me, it's such a classic. The Alchemist. It's just a good book, and it's one that I go back to a lot. I have to read it still. It's just a good book. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, Kobe always said that, and it's like... No way. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a good book. It's such a good book. Like, and you can always go back to it. Yeah. Yeah. It's magical. We're magical. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.